Hello viewers. What is it do we have here? We have yet another variant of the Edison thin and light box fan. This one in the original box, 20-inch 3-speed, model number 204019. And it's very interesting because I recently have done a video on the Edison Deluxe Comfort Fan, not to be confused with the McGraw Edison Comfort Fan. And that model number, because I have it right beside me, 204026. So it's interesting, and I'm wondering if the model numbers, the 204019, and then it jumps to 26, I'm wondering if the numbers between 19 and 26 are different variants between the model numbers, or were they just randomly jumping up in increments? It was kind of cool to happen to notice that, because I have the box for the other fan, and that's another video that I just did as well. Those of you who have been watching my videos, please subscribe if you haven't. Know that I just dig anything Edison from this era, 70s and 80s particularly. I think I've owned every possible variant of a thin and light. The traditional like beige one with the plastic front like this, the traditional beige one with the metal on both sides. I have a green one, which is really the predecessor to the thin light, or thin and light, that is actually green. Check that video out. I call that the green machine. I have versions of this with different cabinets, whether it's then evolving from the thin and light. I have the comfort fans, pretty much all the variants except for two, the Venturi ring and the infinite speed. And then that weird transition period, or not weird, but that transition period between the what would become the Toastmaster final kind of run of those fans in the late 80s, early 90s. I have the transition before that where it's a thicker cabinet and it still has the metal back, but then it evolves into a full-blown Toastmaster from Edison, and it has the plastic with the two supports for the motor, and then it ends up dying a death in the 90s, and Holmes purchases it, I think, in 1996, and then it goes away. So this, we'll do a little unboxing here. The back, and I have another, it's interesting how the back is just so plain. And it has the same description as some of the others, so I'll try to read what I can still see on this, but epoxy coated motor and permanently lubricated bearings for a long maintenance-free life. The video I just did on the fan with the fake wood, same description. High impact safety grill, same description. Almond color grill and blade. So this is really like the original cool colors if you think about it, these variants. Lightweight and portable cabinet. So when I did the video on the version with the fake wood sides, that bullet point there says extra wide cabinet. And I comment in that video that really no one wants to talk about that anymore, because people think, oh, it's wider, it's too heavy, it's too big. Gotta get a really thin, crappy Elasco fan because it's so light. A chocolate brown color cabinet, balanced 5-blade jet stream blades. Well, what's interesting is on, again, the other model Edisons, they really have the exact same blades. They just changed the marketing blurb. On the other box for the fake wood sides on the other model I just read off, the 2.6, that one talks about computer designed blades. So it's interesting what kind of buzzwords the marketing department used back then. And hey, I'm in business, we're guilty of it, right? So I am impressed it has the original box. And this does have your traditional thin and light cabinet. Except it's like that, as it described it, brown avocado, or not avocado, but just brown chocolate kind of color, which is interesting because most of them are light. Same plastic grill as the models that have the plastic grill versus metal on both sides. What I love about McGraw-Edison grills, whether it's the thin and lights, whether it's the Deluxe Comfort Fan or the McGraw-Edison Comfort Fan, they tend to use these grills with these thick slats. And it's actually rare to see one busted like this. It really is. And in fact, in all the ones I own, this might be the only one that, I do have another one that has a few slats missing, but kind of rare. And what I like is, you know, it doesn't use a regular Phillips head. You use a small socket to remove those, and it's just, the fit and finish is so much better. What I also find interesting, and I don't know if this is kind of the mystery to me, maybe if I look on the box more closely, this knob does not belong on a thin and light, I don't believe. Unless it was a situation where it was manufactured that way, there's a part shortage, so they went to the Comfort Fan parts bin and just threw one of these on. Now, if this is a 2-speed, that's going to be a 3-speed knob. Well, it says high, low, medium, low. So it's just like all the other thin and lights. So this looks like it was repurposed or relabeled for a thin and light. Typically, the thin and lights have the kind of like tab type knob, the smaller, which I think is pretty cool. And the thin and lights are typically 2 speeds. So I like this knob, but I just think of the McGraw-Edison Comfort Fans when I see it, not the thin and light. And I wonder how that impacts putting it in the window. Looks like there's still, while it's a thin and light, there still seems to be some real estate for the window to come down. What would be interesting is to take a brand new Lasco fan and put it next to a thin and light, and I bet you the Lasco looks like the thin and light compared to this, even though this is narrower. But a Lasco, you could stick it in your window, but if it's so light and you can't get the window down on it hard enough to really get it in there unless you kind of tilt it to the side, and a gust of wind will blow that sucker right out of the window. I can't recall if I've ever turned this on before. I've talked about this in some of my other videos. For the ones that I just purely collect that are kind of one-offs, I typically don't really use them. It's kind of like a museum. I pull them out when I get them. I went on a run a few years ago on eBay and just kind of gobbled up whatever variant I didn't have just so I could have it. Thankfully, I had the means to do that. And it was really before shipping and that kind of thing got way out of control like it is today for this stuff. So I was lucky. What I think is really cool, and I'm going to show you, when we flip this around, and this one's not in perfect shape. It's scuffed up, the handle's missing. And I always do my little test to see if it has been worked on. And you can always tell, no, this has not been apart. And there's something to be said for that. While part of me wants to pull it apart so I can totally restore it, the other part of me says, no, don't do that because it's in original condition. What I really dig with this fan is the color contrast between the blades, the motor, and the cabinet, because they went ahead and matched the cabinet with the grill and the cover of the motor. While these motors that are the same in all these fans, the covers will sometimes be different colors based on the cabinet or the application. But these motors have been everywhere. These thin and lights don't like to stand up too well. The wider fans, kind of the Toastmaster Edison fans will stay up. The McGraw-Edison Comfort Fans tend to topple over if you put them on the carpet, and they have those big wonky feet. This one does not have the feet, so it tells me it was used or they were lost. I do have tons of spare feet, so if I do use it, I would use the feet if I didn't put it in a window. What else is there to talk about with this? I say it over and over in all my other videos. There are people who don't like this design. I love this design. I've talked about why I love this design. I think it is not a cheap way out. The cheap way out is putting the skinniest, thinnest support bars and the thinnest plastic and making these things as narrow as possible. You take a Lasco of today and you just tap that front grill and it's rubbing the hub. I think this has more metal, therefore it's more rugged. The slats are less. The slats won't break because it's all metal. It's actually easier to clean because I feel like sometimes dirt sticks to that plastic and that's a pain. Where I find if you take a brush, like you don't have to put a hose to this, or you can take a damp rag and just wipe this and it's clean. Where the plastic, you got to take it off, you got to scrub both sides. So there's something to be said for this. However, I do agree, if you want to do work on it on this side, you got to either really get into it by popping this off, or you can get to the front of the motor and pull the blades off, and you can actually loosen the motor and taking it out. And I've done that a million times in other fans. So again, take it or leave it. I take it, but I'm a lover of them all. But I just kind of been on this tear for really kind of collecting all the variants. So I'm going to plug this in, and I do not think I have ever turned this on. So I have had other fans that I've yet to turn on, and I've turned on for the first time in camera, and I've had the blades lock up. I've been able, in some cases, I've been able to manipulate. I stick my finger in there and see if this is stiff, and get it to go. In other cases, I have not. All right. This thing wants to go, but without the feet, these things walk all over the place. So I'm just put my hand on it. This is low. I don't know how you not like these fans. This is powerful. Whether you like the banana style blades or not, it's a powerful motor is my point. Yeah, this is moving all over. So let's try high. It's shaking the camera, knocking papers off the wall. Some spin down. Yeah, I have not serviced this fan. I have not opened it up. I've probably owned it for about 7 years. Like I said, I really dig the color contrast. I think it's more noticeable on the reverse side because of the metal grill and the blades, as I pointed out before. And we'll turn it on one more time. Just think it's really cool. So we will watch this guy spin down, and then we will sign off. And be sure to like my video, comment. Love to hear your thoughts on these things, whether you like them, whether you don't like them. I'm also really open to hearing about better ways to service these things. I kind of have it down to a science now. More so when I open it up and where all the spacers and washers are. That's the thing I have to pay attention to. So I'll see you on the next one. More box fans coming. Keep the comments coming, and talk to you later.